Alright, so you might be wondering, why am I, a musician, reading out a Wikipedia article? This is because of two reasons. Firstly, it's the 1st of April. Secondly, this is a personal request that someone made. Either way, it's good voice acting practice and helps me test my capacity for video editing. If any of you viewers want more of this for some reason, don't be afraid to say so within the comment section below. So please, enjoy the narration. From Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. The Amiga 1000, also known as the A1000, is the first personal computer released by Commodore International in the Amiga line. It combines the 16 to 32-bit Motorola 68000 CPU, which was powerful by 1985 standards, with one of the most advanced graphics and sound systems in its class. It runs a preemptive multitasking operating system that fits into 256 kilobytes of read-only memory, and was shipped with 256 kilobytes of random access memory. The primary memory can be expanded internally with a manufacturer-supplied 256 kilobyte module for a total of 512 kilobytes of RAM. Using the external slot in the primary memory can be expanded up to 8.5 megabytes. The A1000 has a number of characteristics that distinguish it from later Amiga models. It is the only model to feature the short-lived Amiga chipmark logo on its case. The majority of the case is elevated slightly to give a storage area for the keyboard when not in use, a keyboard garage, if you will. And the inside of the case is engraved with the signatures of the Amiga designers, including J. Miner and the paw print of his dog Mitchie. The A1000's case was designed by Howard Stolz. As a senior industrial designer at Commodore, Stolz was the mechanical lead and primary interface with Sanyo in Japan, the contract manufacturer for the A1000 casing. The Amiga 1000 was manufactured in two variations. One uses the NTSC television standard and the other uses the PAL television standard. The NTSC variant was the initial model manufactured and sold in North America. The later PAL model was manufactured in Germany and sold in countries using the PAL television standard. The NTSC systems lacked the extra half-bright mode, which is present in all later Amiga models. Because Amiga OS was rather glitchy at the time of the A1000's release, the operating system was not placed in ROM. Instead, the A1000 includes a daughter board with 256 kilobytes of RAM, dubbed the Writable Control Store, WCS, into which the core of the operating system is loaded from a floppy disk, otherwise known as Kickstart. The WCS is wipe protected after loading, and the system resets do not require a reload of the WCS. In Europe, the WCS was referred to as the Write Once memory. The pre-production Amiga, which was codenamed Velvet, released to developers in early 1985, contained 128 kilobytes of RAM with an option to expand to 256 kilobytes. Commodore later increased the system to 256 kilobytes due to objections by the Amiga development team. The names of the custom chips were also different. Denise and Paula were called Daphne and Portia respectively. The casing of the pre-production Amiga was almost identical to the production version, the main difference being an embossed Commodore logo in the top left corner. It lacked the developer's signatures. The Amiga 1000 has a Motorola 68000 CPU running at 7.15909 MHz on NTSC systems or 7.09379 MHz on PAL systems, precisely double the video color carrier frequency of NTSC or 1.6 times the color carrier signal frequency for PAL systems. The system clock timings are derived from the video frequency, which simplifies glue logic and allows the Amiga 1000 to make do with a single crystal. In keeping with its video game heritage, the chipset was designed to synchronize CPU memory and a chipset DMA, so the hardware runs in real time without wait state delays. The original Amiga 1000 is the only model to have 256 kilobytes of Amiga chip RAM, which can be expanded to 512 kilobytes with the addition of a daughter board under the cover in the center front of the machine. RAM may also be upgraded via official and third-party upgrades with a practical upper limit of about 9 megabytes of fast RAM due to the 68000's 24-bit address bus. This memory is accessible only by the CPU permitting faster code execution, as DMA cycles are not shared with the chipset. The Amiga 1000 features an 86-pin expansion port, electrically identical to the later Amiga 500 expansion port, although the A500's connector is inverted. This port is used by third-party extensions such as memory upgrades and SCSI adapters. These resources are handled by the Amiga autoconfig standard. Other expansion options are available, including a bus expander which provides two Zorro 2 slots. And of course, this wouldn't be any Wikipedia narration without reading the ridiculous-sounding segment. Joe Pillow was the name given on the ticket for the extra airline seat purchased to hold the first Amiga prototype while on the way to the January 1984 Consumer Electronics Show. The airlines required a name for the airline ticket, and thusly Joe Pillow was born. The engineers R.J. Michael and Dale Luck, who flew with the Amiga prototype, codenamed Lorraine, draw a happy face on the front of the pillowcase and even added a tie. Joe Pillow extended his 15 minutes of fame when the Amiga went into production. All 53 Amiga team members who worked on the project signed the Amiga case. This included Joe Pillow and J-Miner's dog Mitchie, who each got to sign the case in their own unique way. Thank you for watching, dear viewer, and remember, I'm primarily a musician, so this is just a one-off, unless if you want more.